Hey guys, what's up? It is Rome here. This video is going to be a team training Zoom call that I'm doing with a bunch of my sales guys and aspiring sales guys. And it's going to be a Q&A session, so I'm not exactly sure what they're going to ask, but probably sales related, sales strategies, real life scenarios, things like that. And if you don't know me, my name is Rome, like the city, and over the last half decade, I've been in the high ticket sales space. I brought in multiple 7 figures in sales revenue, sold across 5 different industries like real estate, e-commerce, marketing, you name it, and been consistently a top performer for people like Ty Lopez, Eric Spofford, and many more you probably recognize. Now, that's a little bit about me. If you guys like this type of content, make sure you like, subscribe, and if you like this video, want to see more of this kind of stuff, then comment below, and I hope you guys enjoy this in-depth conversation with my team. Howard, shoot.
Yeah, so when you're in a situation, you get them to that core pain.
Okay.
On the feedback that you gave me, I was saying things like, oh, I hope we can make that happen, or let's make a change. And you were saying, don't say things like that. So I was wondering if you say anything encouraging at the end of a situation, or you just move into vision.
No, I wouldn't because here's the thing. It's not a good fit for everybody, you know, and you don't want to seem like you're going to be taking every single person you're going to be talking to. You're encouraging everybody because that's like if you think about it in reality, like most people will fail, and it's not for most people, whatever it is that you're selling. And we don't want to give them that, like, oh, let's help you make a change. You know, it's like, let's see if this is for you, that type of energy, right? And at the end of the day, bro, like number one, we need to figure out they have a serious problem. And before we even go to commitment and all that stuff, we need to know they have a serious problem and that they actually want to do something about it. You can't make them do something about it. You know, the urgency has to be there. If they feel like, you know, they have a serious problem, but it doesn't seem like they're ready to do anything about it, and you get that sense and you go through like commitment questions and end the call, they're not going to buy, right?
All right. Yeah, makes sense.
Of course. Wayne.
Yeah, how you doing?
Fantastic.
I've noticed this a couple of times, just how I get over it, and I just want to know how you do. When you come on someone, you say, hey, what's going on? And that, like an general introduction, and they don't ask you back anything. So it's like that awkward moment when you can either be like, so what are you doing? Or you just go straight into it. So I've been going just straight into it. But then when I get feedback, sometimes people say, well, you didn't really build up anything at the beginning. So I just wanted to know what your opinion would be on that.
So it depends on the scenario. Like, is that their personality? Like, are they like closed off, or is it because maybe you said something in the beginning or sounded like a sales guy? Like, what's the scenario?
Yeah, I mean, it's just, you know, just like if I said, hey Rome, it's Wayne from XYZ Academy. How you doing today?
Good.
Yeah, and then normally someone says, if I'm saying just good, someone would say, yeah, how you doing? But if they don't say anything, what I generally do is I just go into like, yeah, well, the reason why I'm here is because of you picked up the ebook, etc. So I'm asking you, if someone just says a flat like good, would you go into it, or would you just try and still figure out another way of getting back into that question?
No, that's fine. They say they're good, amazing. Hey, by the way, why aren't you great? Why just good? Right? Why aren't you great? Why not amazing? Why just good? If you want to like have like a little small talk, right? And if even then they're like, oh, I'm just good. Okay, good. And then go into your reason of the call.
Okay.
Right?
It's pretty much what I do, but I just wanted to see what your take on it was. So that's cool.
That's what I would do.
Nice. Thank you.
Yeah, so what I want to know is like when should you skip steps? Because I noticed that in the recording calls, not all the steps get taken sometimes on the framework, and they still close.
I think in the beginning, it's wise not to skip any step for you to have a solid understanding of the framework. Because you have to understand the framework is really built off the gap. Are you familiar with the gap?
Yeah. It's between where the prospect is and where they want to be.
That's it. So the framework is all based on the gap, right? Now,
Okay.
If you so many times and you know you've built a big enough gap, you know there's enough tension, you've done this so many times, and you can go in the close 7, 8, 9 minutes in the call, right? If you are a beginner, I think it's wise to go through the steps So you can get your reps in, and then later down the road, you'll be able to ask a question. They'll be able to like one question, two questions that will knock off like 2-3 steps off the call.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
Of course, yeah. Just rep it out, man. At one point, you'll be like, "Yeah, he've already mentioned this to me. I don't need to ask it again," and you can just skip a few steps.
Okay, cool.
Of course. That's it, guys. No questions. Burke.
Hey, Rob.
Hello.
Today I was having a role play, and the prospect was working as a bottle girl, and she was having this bad lifestyle, like bad habits, like using drugs and drinking alcohol. Is it wrong to ask commitment questions in situational? Because like she was partying all day. I would like to ask, are you ready to make this change or something like that? Because she was telling me as a pain point, I guess.
Yeah, I think it would be too early to get commitments at this point, because first I would understand like what's the problem, like why is it so bad being a bottle girl, like why is that something that's bad? And once you find the pain points, you want to get to know the vision first. Build the gap, like where is she right now, where does she want to be, right? Follow the framework. I think gauging commitment is step 8.
Yeah.
And with that type of like prospect, just thinking about it right now, like I would use like consequential based questions. It would be really, really good for that, right? So like what happens if, figure out her pain, she doesn't like it, she doesn't feel safe going home, all that stuff, right? She has to like take multiple Ubers to go home or whatever. Okay, yeah, that's a pain. Okay, got it. And then so what's your goal? Why is it so important to you? All that stuff. Build that gap. And then when you go into consequential based questions, after you figure out like what's been holding her back will give you a clue. First of all, what would be close to what's actually been holding her back, what's in the way, and then you can gauge commitment right then and there, depending on what she said was holding her back. But back to my point, like with consequential based question, I think it's very powerful here to ask her, so what happens if you mentioned that the reason you haven't made a change is because you don't have time? Like what happens if you don't make time for this a year from now? How would things look like for you? Oh, things look the same, my parents would be still upset at me, or like my family would accept me. Gotcha. Okay. And would you be okay with that? Now, it doesn't say, would you be okay with that? No, I wouldn't be. Why? Why not? And this is where the urgency will really kick in, right? How will things be different a year from now? Well, it wouldn't be different. Would you be okay with that? No. Why not? I think that's a question that we should probably include in the framework right after asking, would you be okay with that? Hit them with the why and really think, right?
Yeah.
That's how would I approach that. It's a good question.
All right. Thank you very much, Rob.
For those of you who are just coming in, we're doing for the whole call, most of the call, we'll do far Q&A questions. We might also do a couple role plays based on scenarios or questions that you guys have, okay? Raghu.
Hey, so yeah, my question was regarding the approach in objection handling between how intense you would go with male and female, because I was having this role play, and I closed the deal. She was a woman on the other side of the call, and I was just asking her quick questions like, well, like what's going to be bigger risk? Have you taken any steps that were not uncomfortable, but you still had to do them? Things like that. But I was also thinking like I could pull in, push or pull. I could use that. I could, go go a bit more intense, like I would normally go with if there was a male prospect on the other side. But I was just wondering, like, how intense would it be with male prospects and female prospects, or would it be just the same?
I would treat both the same. And how hard would I go? I mean, at the end of the day, if I figure out, I know that they have a problem and I know they're ready to make a change, to actually make a change, then that's the only point where I will pitch. right? If I don't feel like she's ready to make a change, she's not actually serious right now to make a change, it's not a priority right now, then I won't pitch where I can't close. But if I'm at a point where I felt like that and there's still objections, and I'm confident that she has a problem, I'm confident she wants to make a change, then I will go hard. For me, like once she's off the call, they're off the call, wherever they are, it's done. It is very like, yes, sometimes maybe 1 out of 10 people will actually be 2 out of 10 people will actually follow up, but most of the time it's done if they're off the call, right? You've already built so much tension, you've already spent so much time. Like I would go hard till the end, till like they get a yes or a no, right? That's how I personally.
Yeah, no,
Oh,
I was
you
thinking
there's
that
any
too.
objections, so well, I work on preventing them first before it happens, but it still happens from time to time.
Yeah. Yeah, I figured out why that objection came up. It was a commitment issue that like she tried doing e-commerce in the past, but she just stopped it because she couldn't really keep herself committed to it. But then I didn't really go hard on the commitment during the gaining commitment section. That like what's going to be different now? Are you actually in a position to really commit through this and make this work? I missed that part. And that's what came up in objections. But, she was really on the fence. I was just really teasing her, like, You're the one who's gonna do it," and, I was thinking she's gonna figure it out herself, but the prospect said it after the call that, "Yeah, you could have gone in high intensity," so,
Yeah.
yeah, that makes sense.
Here's the thing, bro. There's so many things on the call on sales calls that you can leave till later, right? Like, oh, okay, she mentioned that challenge she had. She mentioned, or he mentioned, um, they need some sort of support. Then I'll think like I'll just ask it in step 9, right? There's so many things that I can like consequential based questions. I'll just ask it then, right? But the only thing that you cannot leave for later is like when you hear that they've been through this before and it didn't work out, you have to go in on that. If you don't go in on that right now, it's done, right? And when I say going, like going hard, like what's like, okay, what have you like, why didn't it work out? Like, was it the coaches? Was it this? Like, what have you actually tried? Like what has changed this time around, right? So really get the commitments right then and there.
Okay, that makes sense. Thanks.
Yeah, many things like you can leave to later, but that commitment stuff, like it's on the spot. You guys have any questions? We can jump into role plays. I'll be a prospect. I would.
Yeah, just a thought. So when you're challenging a prospect and then they say something along the lines of there's too much information out there, and you think that it's more due to them just being lazy, or sometimes I struggle to get them to admit that. I try to say, oh, you've been not sitting on your hands, but 6 months is a long time for you to do this research. You couldn't have done anything. And they're like, no, it's just too much information out there. And I ask, oh, is there really not anything else holding you back right now? And they're like, no, it's just
Yeah.
too much. And,
Yeah.
I don't know how
Yeah.
to.
That's a good question. No, I understand you. And I would just dig deep on like, what do you mean by too much information? Like a lot of times prospects will say things and they have their own perspective what too much information means. You have your own perspective what too much information means, and then there's just miscommunication. And then you're just finding a challenge that doesn't really exist, but dig deeper on the words that they say, right? It's almost like you can even mirror like too much information. What do you mean by too much information? Right? So that's how you tie them down. Like, what do you mean? Like, oh, if there's so much information, like, why haven't you, like, what steps have you take? Nothing. Why? Like, how important is for you to achieve X, Y, and Z goals? Right? So dig deeper on that. That'll give you a lot more clarity because it could be like a valid, like, point, but we need to dig deeper on what they mean by that. Yeah. Makes sense? Jacob.
How you doing, Rome?
Amazing, brother. How are you?
Doing good, man. Doing good. I actually have 2 questions, and I think
Shoot.
you're good to actually answer this.
First off, I've been having a lot of feedback from just overall coaches and just personal life stuff. So when I jump on role plays, calls, whatever it may be, um, I struggle from like not all the time because I can be having a great day and everything, but I struggle on not asking the right asking the right questions, but the way I say the question. And what Michael last feedback he gave me is more of the empathy side. I struggle more with doing that, so I actually have a question. How can I actually overcome that?
Asking the right questions,
No, just be more empathetic.
more empathetic.
Yeah, because like I can be empathetic towards people, but I don't know if it's like the role play itself, if it's not actually like a real scenario. But I find it very difficult when it comes to like role play. It's kind of hard to actually be empathetic towards something if it's not 100% authentic.
Okay, give me an example.
Okay, yeah. So I gave you exactly role play. Stu Jin, if he's actually on this call, he gave me that he had a kid, doesn't have a kid, wants to get in e-commerce. He doesn't want to leave his job because he likes his job, everything is good, but he wants to get into e-commerce so he can build more time to be around the kid more.
Okay. And what are you struggling with being empathetic exactly?
The father aspect, because in the real scenario, like he hasn't been. So the information he was giving me about the kid, I wasn't resonating with it too much. So I wasn't being more empathetic towards that. So I kind of like brushed it off because in my mind, he didn't want to. He wanted to move so he can, make more money.
Yeah.
Didn't want to go to school.
Yeah.
And want to spend more time with his kid. I'm like, okay, cool. So you really want to
Beautiful.
move forward with this. Michael was telling me, hey man, a kid's a big deal.
Right.
But in the back of my mind, like realistically, being a father, it's very hard to actually relate to that because I'm not a father.
Yeah.
And I don't know how I would actually handle that because we give a million ideas on how we can be empathetic towards different situations. But until we come across that, it's kind of hard to even relate when it comes to the parents.
Yeah.
Got people on the call who are a parent. I don't know if you have kids around, but like if you're a parent, I mean, you probably come across parents and stuff. It's very dynamic. It's no one way that something can happen in somebody's life.
Let me ask you another question. Why are you trying to be empathetic? What are you trying to do?
Relate to them, essentially, or try to understand them more.
Why?
To build more rapport and understand them. But like I come from like the logic, like because like Amon said today, like you can't be logical because that's not really what's going to make somebody buy. And I look at things more of a logical approach. Like, okay, cool. You want to up your life. You want to be a better role model for your kid. You want to show them that they can do whatever they want. Cool, got you. So I don't feel like I dig deep enough on that because I just don't relate.
Would you say this, like, where would this be in the call? Like, would you say like vision is like more vision talk or situational?
This was more in vision when I finally got where Shujin wanted to go with e-commerce. Because in situation was good, likes it, but he just wants to move forward. So the vision was very one dynamic. He just wanted to make more money, spend time with the kids, with the wife. Asked him why.
So you're right. Kids a big deal. Kids, family. Whenever they mention family or kids, grandchildren, it's very simple. Tell me more about your kids. Like that's what's if they've mentioned that on the call, like that means something is so important for them. So that means they love to talk about it. So it's like, tell me more about your kid. Like what's his name? Like how old is he? And then you'll see they'll start talking about their kids. So it's not necessarily like, oh, that I completely understand being a father. So it's like, just dig deeper on that. Like, oh, tell me more about your kid. Like, how old is he? Oh, 7. He's at that age. Like, okay, cool. Like, like what is he good at? Or like show some sort of interest, right? Some people like, oh, I want to take care of my kids. You want to, okay, and you have kids. Tell me about your kids. Like, what's the oldest? Who's the youngest? Are they still living with you? Right. So just talk more about it. Like spend more time asking about that. Their face will light up if you see them on video camera. As soon as you dig on that, their face will start to light up and they'll start talking about them. And that's all you really need to do to build rapport like that.
Okay. And I
Right.
have another question on the kid thing, because I did another role play with somebody who was going to have a kid and they wanted to get into e-commerce. Same kind of situational base, essentially. Everything was going good in their life, but they wanted more, and a kid was on the way, and that's why they were getting into e-commerce. How would I approach that?
So you said there's a kid on the way?
Yeah, that was the second role play I had on a different day, that a kid was coming on the way 6 months from now. And they
Okay.
wanted to make 10K within that 6-month period.
Okay. Amazing. Did you guys okay, let's role play it. Did you guys come up with a name? Do you guys know if it's a boy or girl? Are you guys doing one of those like crazy reveals?
Yeah, we don't know anything yet. We'll find out here in about a few weeks where if it's going to be a boy, twins, whatever. We're thinking it might be a boy.
Wow, that's exciting, man. Are you excited?
I'm scared shitless, man. I'm first kid on the way. I'd be a dad. Don't know what I'm going to do. I think I'm more scared than the wife is, actually.
Wow, I can't imagine. That's huge, man. That's huge. My father always told me your other half of your life will start whenever you have a kid. That's very cool. I'm curious, like, why is that like so important for you to completely like switching careers? You know, you're completely like switching careers or whatever their goal is. Why is it so important for you to give your kid more or give your kid whatever it is? Why is that something that's so important for you? Like most fathers won't do what you're doing right now.
Yeah. So, I mean, currently at my marketing role, man, I work about 60 hours a week. I've been doing that for, about a year and a half now after I got out of college. Make decent money, make good money, but it's just not enough for a kid.
Yeah.
And I want to be there more with my wife and my kid. And I don't want, I want to spend more time and give them more than I had. I didn't live a bad life, but I just want my kid to have a little bit more than I did.
Mhm. And what would you do with the time? Because you'll back. So how would things be different?
Yeah, I would probably be a stay-home dad and work. That was what I was thinking. Spend more time with them, especially in those first like 3 to 4 years of life, where I can be more influential to them, so they can have the right development. Try to pick the right, schools they go to. Be very active in their early years in their life.
That's amazing, man. That's very admirable, man. I mean, most men, I guess most men that I've met, most fathers won't go to the lengths that you're doing right now to give their kid a good life. That's very admirable. And now, pause role play. I would, whenever there's something urgent, like there's a kid coming on the way, or there's like retirement coming, or marriage coming, like something coming, you got to think consequences. You got to think urgency. Okay, what's the urgency? And again, back to what I said earlier, right? So, okay, what happens once we figure out? Well, let's continue on role playing it, right? So, okay, Jacob, how long have you been thinking about making this change?
Yeah, probably within the last 3 months now. 3 months.
3 months. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And within those 3 months, like, what's kind of been holding you back from, pulling the trigger, taking action?
Yeah, good question, man. I have no idea what I'm doing. We come from marketing, and I just don't know what I'm doing. There's a lot of information. I've been doing, research, due diligence, Google. I did pay for like a $500 low ticket price where they showed you how to pick products, and, stuff like that. Nothing insane. But that's about it, man.
Mm-hmm. And what do you mean by you don't know what you're doing? Like, what have you? I'm just trying to I want you to like help me understand. Like, what have you actually tried?
Yeah, so I started a domain name. I started my online store. It got shut down 3 times by Shopify, and that's as far as I've got.
Okay, well, you took some action.
Yeah.
It's good. So you got shut down. Do you know why you got shut down?
Don't know. I got on the support line with them. They talked, they investigated it, told me that they couldn't give context on what happened. The first time they said it was code of conduct, whatever that meant. And then the
Right.
second and third time, I just don't know. I launched a product, made $5, went $40 negative, and it just shut me down.
Makes sense. That makes sense. Paul's role play. So this is where I would keep this in mind, that he had trouble with like Shopify, or basically didn't have the right guidance. And so I'm like, okay, I'll keep that in mind. I'm gonna end the conversation about that right here. And then in step 9, just before I go and pitch, like, hey, by the way, you mentioned that previously, like you had troubles with like setting up your Shopify store. It was kind of like you didn't have, direction. Tell me, what do you need from us? Like, what do you exactly need from us in order for you to see success? So that would like completely like prevent that from being an objection.
Okay.
Right. And now let's continue role play. What else has kind of been holding you back? Is it just that or is there anything else?
I would say that's about it, man. Just, I guess, not having clarification on Shopify's part, what I'm doing wrong. Maybe somebody that, I don't know. I've done research on it, but that's about it. I think that's the only thing that's really holding me back.
Got it. Okay. So you've done some moves, then your research, you launch a Shopify store, got shut down. Okay. Have you, like, what stopped you from like launching another Shopify store?
I mean, I can probably launch, 3 more and hope they don't get shut down, but I just want to do it the right time and make a little bit more money instead of going like, $40 a negative, which I'm okay with, but I would like to see more result, at least break even,
Yeah. Got it. And what happens if, a year from now, you keep on getting shut down, you don't get the right support, you don't launch your Shopify store? How would things look like then?
I mean, things want to be bad, Rome, but at the same time, they won't be great. Meaning, I'll still be working these 60, 70 hours a week. I won't be home with my kid, and everything I've told you previously would basically cease to exist. It would happen. Unless I found something else that may work, but I just don't know what that would be right now.
And would you be okay with that outcome?
No, not at all.
Why not?
And I like the thought of making a very good impact on my kids' life if they come into this earth as soon as possible. All the stuff I research about, these last, months of finding out and the pregnancy and stuff like that, that's very important on the kid's life, even if they don't remember it. That early 4 years can skyrocket their success in any field in life, and it really develops who they are and eliminates a lot of fear in their early teens, insecurity, stuff like that. And I don't want my kid coming into this world like 80-90% of people, they're trying to themselves or go down a wrong path, and that scares me. I see it happen a lot in my childhood, and I don't want that to happen in my kids' life.
It sounds like not only you've been researching e-commerce, but you've been researching how to be an amazing dad.
Been trying to, man. Been trying to.
I love that, man. It shows me you're serious, you're committed, you want to make things happen. I love that, man. That's the kind of attitude you need. Amazing. And then now that's it. That's enough. And then I'll just recap. Gain commitments. Hey, if we could potentially show you a way to get XYZ going, how soon would you be willing to rock and roll? Right? If we can show you a way to get you to X, Y, and Z and get you going, how soon would you be willing to rock and roll?
Just take your credit card. American Express.
Still don't know if this is for you yet. Okay.
I got him right here. Let's go.
Good. I hope that answered your question.
It did. Thank you.
Of course. All right. So I guess there's no more. Oh, that Ryan. How you doing?
How's it going?
Good.
I'm not sure if I missed it, but when someone brings up, they tried something and they haven't like found success in it, you said kind of leave it for challenge or show self-solution, or would you address it there?
If they haven't had success,
Like if they tried something before and like it just didn't work out.
yeah, well, you need to figure out why.
So you'll address it then.
Yes. Well, it depends. We need to kind of figure out like what it is. Like, was it if it's a commitment question, like they weren't committed, they weren't putting in the work type thing, then that's something they need to address right away. But if they were putting in the work and things weren't just working out, like Jacob's like Shopify store kept on shutting down, like I can tell this guy's been taking action, and
Yeah.
I don't need to kind of gain like commitments right now and then. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it
So-
depends on if the problem is the program or is it them, right?
Exactly.
Okay.
If it's them, if you have like a commitment issue on their side, then nail it right then and then, handle it right there. If it's like, hey, no, I've tried, like I've been trying, I tried X and Y and Z and this, gotcha. Okay, gotcha. Right. So and then you could be like, and that you can solve that in step 9. Like, what do you feel like you need this time around for you to not go? Because hey, listen, I know that your last experience didn't really work out because you kept on getting shut down. You didn't have the right guidance. So I want you to tell me, like, verbatim, what do you want? What do you want to see? What would you need from us for you to be 100% confident that you will see success in this?
Okay. Gotcha. Yeah, I have another question where I think I have a problem with, like, slowing down prospects who are more fast paced. And vice versa. Like, do you kind of have tips for that?
Slowing down prospects that are fast paced.
Yeah, like they want to, like, I guess, move the call forward, but I'm just asking questions where I'm just slowing them down.
Well, why are you slowing them down?
Well, I guess I'm trying to, like, get deeper, kind of understand them. But if I don't know, if they're saying a lot of stuff and like I ask them questions where they've answered it previously, then I guess it's just like me not active listening. I guess that's kind of the main problem.
That's what I'm hearing. Yes.
Mm.
And you don't really want to slow down a fast-paced buyer. It's like it's like a tiger in a cage and you're like poking it, you're just like agitating it, right? You don't really want to slow them down.
Well, that's what I'm saying. It's like I kind of see that as a problem. I'm thinking like, what kind of tips do you have for that? Or
That's it.
take notes.
Write down everything they say, man. Like write down like main points so you can be like, okay. And then you have a full picture of the whole conversation. Easy solution, bro. Does that
Okay.
help?
I mean, it's yeah, it's like tangible things I can do. Just that I've been doing that, like taking notes and like I don't know. I guess it's something I gotta work on. I guess.
I mean, it's two
Yeah.
things you mentioned. First, you're like, how do we slow down a fast-paced buyer? We don't necessarily want to do that.
No, that's what I'm saying. I feel like I don't want to slow them down, but I'm just doing it by accident. And they get pissed off.
Right. So be more conscious of that. Just be like on this call, like be conscious of that. Make yourself aware, write it down. Be aware of slowing down fast-paced buyer. Put on the top and just that's how you're gonna do it, bro. You're just gonna have to remind yourself and keep on practicing it. Right. And you got us. Like you can send in calls and we can give you
Yeah.
feedback. So
Thank you.
well, Wayne.
Yeah, while we're on the subject of challenge, just come to me. Sometimes before I go through, because I had this once and Dylan said, like, don't ever do that. So I said, I'll never do it again. And what it was is that I took someone down to the presentation and they hadn't made up their mind, as in they had multiple things that they were looking at. So now, under no, in fact, the other day I even disqualified a role play, which I don't know whether it's the right thing or not, but purely and simply because they were so they couldn't make up their mind. I'm not sure I want to go trading, or maybe I'll do e-commerce, or maybe I'll do SMS. It was really wishy-washy, So I tried to hit them with, like, do you feel like now, after having some information, really going through the ebook, that you're ready to actually take that next step, and e-commerce specifically is exactly what you want. And then I still get that same thing. So I don't want to take anyone through until I've got it as concrete as I can. So have you got any tips on that? How you
Yeah,
would
absolutely. 100%. I mean, let's role play it right now. Tell me you're looking into everything.
Okay. Yeah, I'm just not sure, Ryan. I mean, the thing is, I looked at real estate a little while back. This e-commerce thing hit my desk, and I've also applied for a couple of these trading courses. I haven't really had any luck with them, but the last thing I'm looking at the moment as well is social media platforms or something. So yeah,
Yeah.
not really sure.
Dude, I love that. You remind me a lot of myself when I started. When I was at engineer at IBM, I was looking for a way out. And I couldn't make up my mind. I'm like, I've been getting hit with ads left, right, and center, e-commerce, trading, crypto, this, that. It's just like I don't even know what to pick. But what about like e-com specifically, piqued your interest?
Well, first of all, I like the remote side of it, but then, the trading you could do remote, and also the social media I could do remote. The real estate probably not. But yeah, I like that. And as I said to you earlier, I want to travel, so that's probably a big thing for me.
Nice.
I like the simplicity of it. The thing that I'm a little bit concerned about is the advertising and marketing. But yeah, I mean, there's pros and cons for all of it. So it's just really finding out. Yeah, that's why I'm on the call, right? So yeah.
100%, man. I mean, you can have the best store in the world, you can have the best product, but if you don't know how to get the right eyeballs to the store, you ain't gonna make any money.
Yeah.
Right. Similarly with trading, similarly with real estate, similar like this, right? You got to know what you're doing. But everything aside, like, why are you even getting into any of this? Like, what's the goal? Like, what are you really working towards?
Yeah, well, long story, but I'm just trying to keep my mum not out of the home, because at the moment I'm struggling to keep her in the home, and I don't want to put her in a home. So I'm looking for a way to make enough money to be able to do that. And I'm just looking for the right vehicle, really. I'm just a bit undecided of what I should do.
It can be frustrating. It can be frustrating in the beginning, not knowing exactly what road to take. But I think you have a very strong why. I think you have a very strong why. How old is your mother?
65.
God bless her. You guys live together right now?
No, I don't. No, she's on her own. But the problem is because of my current job that I do, I don't have enough back and forth time. And my sister, she's not really around as much and my brother moved to his girlfriend's down the coast. So it's only really me. So a lot of this is now, all the weight's been pushed on to me. And I want to help her. I want to help everyone, because I don't want to ever see my mum in a home. However, I need to make the money to be able to stop that from happening. And that's why I looked at the social media side as well, because it seemed like there's a lot of people on there. These kids are just jumping up from everywhere and telling you how you can make this 10,000 in like 90 days and stuff. And that was, I mean, I'm under a deadline, so yeah, I need to get it done quick.
Completely understand. I mean, at the end of the day, whatever you can make either of any of those options really work. You just got to put in the work, right? They all work. People are making money from all of them at the end of the day. But you mentioned to me that you don't want to put your mom in a home. Like, why not?
Well, because it's not somewhere that's very nice these days. I mean, there are a few good ones, but mate, there's a shitload of bad ones. I've done my research, because I looked at it, because at one stage I thought that's what was going to happen. I was right under it, and then I just started speaking to my sister, and she was like not really interested. So I was like, all right, and then I won't tell you what I said, but it wasn't polite. I said, look, I'll sort it out. I'll deal with it myself. So that's why I'm on this call, because I know I've got to do something.
Yeah.
I'm just very confused of what to do.
Okay. Well, let's worry about that later. I mean, for now, like, how much would you need to be making for you to be able to help your mom? For you, she doesn't have to go into a home. Like, how much do you need to be making a month? What's the income goal?
I just want to. For me, the income is not the big deal. it's just as long as I have enough to cover, not putting her in a home, and covering all the expenses on the mortgage and stuff for her. So probably about $4,200 US.
Months? Okay,
Yeah.
lovely. And then this is just so that you can take care of the expenses with your mother and okay, got it.
Yeah, I mean, if I could get to that stage, you know, because again, I've never done this, but if I can actually make that happen, which is my main goal, then I can think about me. I know you should do it the other way around, think about me, but I don't want to do it that way. I want to do it this way because I feel that's the most important value that I can give right now.
You, of course, 100%. I would do the same thing, Wayne. I would do the exact same thing. But I mean, what would that mean to you when you're able to actually help your mom and provide for her so she doesn't have to go to a home? What would that mean to you?
It'd be incredible, man. I don't want to get emotional on this call, but you know, that's what it will mean to me. Yeah, just to know that that safety net's been put into place by something that I put into place and doing the right thing. Yeah, I mean, it'd be incredible. Yeah.
Got it. Lovely. Okay. Beautiful. Wayne. How long have you kind of been thinking about putting your, providing for her and, making this change? And
Well, it's been over 18 months that we have been trying to figure out a solution because we know that that ticking time bomb, if you want to call it, is coming.
Yeah.
So if I'm seriously, I've been looking into this for the last 4 months properly to really, and I've been streaming like you wouldn't believe, probably people think if you spoke to me 2 months ago, you think I was a compulsive, like if it was all paper, I'd have newspapers up to the top of my ceiling. Like that's how much research I've been doing, trying to figure out. But there's so much out there. It's like a massive ocean. And the trouble with oceans, man, there's a lot of frigging sharks.
Yeah.
So you don't know who to trust, right?
I mean, that's another thing too, right? 100%. And you don't really know anything's going to work out for you until you actually try it.
No,
right?
that's true.
And so pause roleplay here. So you can see, like, I'm not really putting too much effort on, like, there's so many things, like, I want to do trading, I want to do e-commerce, real estate. Okay. I mean, give them praise. Like, that's amazing. It seems like you're looking for a way out. You're serious about change. It's completely normal. Like most people do that. And it's true. Most people actually start like that. And they'd be like, so what exactly attracted you about e-commerce? And then they'll start selling you on why they want to get into e-commerce. You don't need to convince them. It's anything else. Okay. And now you're just in this call. Now you're just building trust. You can tell that they don't know who to work with. They don't know. Now I know that my goal on this call, or what in every single call, was to build trust with this person. So I'm trying to build trust with you. I want to understand your goals. And again, a big thing on this scenario is urgency, right? There's a time, the ticking bomb, right? So what's really powerful here, and it's going to move the needle forward, is in consequential based questions. Hey, what happens if you keep on doing your research and you don't take any action? And you pile up newspapers and rooms of newspapers of your research. How would things be different 5 years from now? Right? Oh, well, things will be the same. Would you be okay with that? No. Why not? That's it. It's done.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. And then there,
it was very just listen. I even on the prospect, but just listening to the way you questioned me, you was getting me into that place where I'm thinking, this guy really does give a shit, right? And that's the truth. As opposed to you saying, well, like any of them work, because that's normally what I would say is, well, any of them work, which is what you did, but you did it in a lot softer tonality, a lot easier manner. And then you started to ask more about me and what it was for me or for my mother. So yeah, that was really cool. Yeah.
good. I'm glad it helped.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Howard.
Yeah. So I've been asked on a few role plays in the past. You asked them what's their target with ecom, and they yeah, you asked them and they're like, "Oh, I want to make 5K a month. Is that possible?" The way I answer it, I don't think it's very good. So I was wondering if you just say, yeah, 100% is possible and just leave it there. Or how would you answer that question?
Like, is it okay? Well, is it possible? But like, yeah, it's possible. Why would you think it's not possible? In a sense, like, why would you think it's not possible? Because there's some doubt, and I want to dig deep on that doubt.
Okay.
Right? Like, yes, it is possible. It's very attainable. I'm glad you're not saying you want to make $10 million next month. Are you being realistic? I love that. But why are you doubting it? Why do you think it's not possible? Or why do you ask? Right? And then so yeah, don't say why you're doubting it, because we don't know like what's the doubt yet, like what's holding him back, but dig deep on that.
Yep. Awesome. Thanks.
Of course. I don't think we'll have enough time to do a full role play. Last chance. Questions. Ryan.
Yeah, so back to my my previous question, right? It's like if what's like the key indicator that you know that you dove deep enough, situational.
Situational?
Yeah.
The tonality changes.
Mm.
It's really you gotta listen for the tonality. Whenever you feel like you've dug deep enough is whenever their tonality changes and they start becoming more truthful and sharing, being vulnerable. Right? And you will hear it in their tone.
Like they become more emotional and open
Yeah,
up.
they become more emotional. Yeah, and you will now that I told you this, you're gonna be more aware of it on your calls. So it's whenever they change their tonality, yeah, they have like a softer tone, body language, something different. They look down and like start like thinking, like depending on if you're on video or not, but you can hear in the similar in vision. Same thing. When you want to figure out the vision and why is it so important for them, how do you know you dug deep enough? The tonality changes. They get more excited talking about the vision and their goals and why is it so important for them.
Okay. I don't know, because when I do these role plays, I don't know, like what if their tonality isn't like there because it's a role play, right? It's not real. It's like, so how do you know that in these role plays they're actually like, the right tonality comes out when they say it? Or is like something you can't really count on?
I listen to a lot of role plays, and
Mm.
while it is a role play, everybody still goes in like acting mode and kind of steps into that.
Yeah.
So I still find that you can listen to the tonality even if it's not real.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter, bro. If it's a role play or it's a real call, their tonality will still change. Trust me. Just be
Alright.
conscious of it,
Alright.
right? But then a day,
Okay.
also to answer your question in another way, is that not only tonality, but once you really understand what the problem is and how is it affecting their life. They don't have time. Okay, how's that affecting their life? Oh, they don't have time with their wife and their kids and this. Oh, okay. So how's that actually been on you, right? So how's that been on you is like you're trying to understand like how's that problem been affecting your life. Like once you understand how's that problem is affecting their life, that's good. You can move on. However, and I don't mean to complicate things, but it's not always very important to find the pain points in the first 5 minutes of a call, right? Sometimes you will need to build a little bit more rapport. It'll take a little bit more time. You'll find pains maybe like during vision talk, right? So just keep that in mind.
Okay.
But mainly, once you understand how that problem is affecting them, how that serious problem is affecting their life, then you can move on.
Like the physical and then how that physical is emotionally and psychologically affecting you. And then move on to vision.
Exactly. It's a goal, but you don't have time. Okay, like how's that? Like, what do you mean you don't have time? Well, I don't have time for like my kids, my wife, my this. Gotcha. Okay, so that's like, how's that been on you? That's psychological.
Mm. Okay. Thank you.
Of course. George,
Hey Rome, how's it going?
great.
That's good, man. So my question is, when you're in presentation, what do you think are the most important factors to to put in while you're going through it? I understand that tailoring their what everything they said with situation and vision, if you do that while you're presenting, that helps as well. And then also when you're like when they give you their SSS and you apply that to it too. Would you say those things, or what else are important factors when you're approaching that?
Yeah, so what you said is like two of them are the same thing. Like SSS, self-solution selling, you got to tie that into the presentation. That's huge. That's what's going to be, that's the most important thing. Usually, whenever if you guys are on offers, whenever you get on offer, you will have usually a pitch already pre-written for you. On all offers usually. Now, but they don't necessarily want you to kind of read it word for word, but they have like that's the outline. And then you gotta tailor it to what they need, right?
Present it your proper way, right? Not the same
Exactly.
way that's given from the offer.
Exactly. You got to change it up. Like no two pitches can sound the same, because once they start sounding the same, George, like it's just they will subconsciously just they'll feel a little bit turned off because they'll know it's not for them, right? You've like, try to keep it PG here. You've got them excited all the way through, and then at the end, you're trying to pitch them something that's exactly for them, but it's not, because you're reading off a pitch, and then they just lose the connection, right?
Okay.
So it's even in the subtle words, like let's talk about that for a second. Even in the subtle words, like, well, I'm looking for a mentor. Now you no longer will say coach. You no longer will say teacher. You will only say mentor in your pitch. When they say, I want a blueprint, you're not going to say step by step. You're not going to say, I'm going to show you the way. You're going to say, I'm going to show you, this is the blueprint. I'm going to break down the blueprint for you. Like, oh shit, this is for me. This program is made for me. Right. So, and if they say, well, I'm looking for them, they can be a little bit flexible. Beautiful. By the way, our coaching calls are Mondays, Thursdays, Fridays. Some of them are in the afternoon, some of them are in the evening. So just make sure it's like, flexible for you, or, just make sure you include exactly what they say.
Okay.
So,
And then
very solid.
Okay, thank you. I have another one too. So when you're on objection handling and then you get someone that says, can I just hit you up 24 hours like the next day? I know you have to neutralize, right? And then you isolate. So then I would be like, well, so is it more of a, just a money issue, or is it more of like you just need to go over it and think about it, right? And then she says the second one, and then I'd be like, so can you tell me what exactly are you gonna be thinking through those days, or what's gonna be on your mind? And
Right.
then she says, yeah, I just need a little bit time to go over. I don't know if it's the, like right decision. And then I would be, no, I completely understand. And then I would throw a story then, or no?
I would advise you to go back and like watch the objection handling videos. It'll clear up all that for you. But basically, okay, what do you got to think about? What do you want to think about? Obviously, very curious tone. Tonality is everything in objection handling, right? So, okay, like what is it that, from now until X whatever time, like what is it exactly that you want to think about? Well, I want to think about this, this, and that. And it really depends on what they say. Like, is that a price problem? Like what's the objection? So once we've isolated, we figure out what it is, then you go into gauging commitments. But it really depends on the objection. I don't want to confuse you right now, but like it depends on the objection.
Like, as in if it's a money thing, or is it a self-belief thing, or is it not a wife thing, right?
So
Or like,
let's just say you say, I want to think about it. Oh, you want to think about it. What do you want to think about? I don't know. I just want to think about it. Okay, perfect. Now you go into gauge commitments, gaining commitments. This is where you figure out if they didn't tell you what the real objection is. This is where it's your time to figure out what the objection is with these questions. Do you believe in the industry? Yes. Do you, from everything that we shared with you, do you believe that we can help you get you to your goals and mention the goals of X, Y, and Z? Yes. Good. Do you have the time? Yes. If they say yes to all those, then it's like, drop your tone. So what's really holding you back? And then usually if you did that correctly, and they'll tell you the real reason they're scared or whatever, then you go into a story.
Okay.
Then you go into a story. Yeah, don't waste your time going into stories without understanding what the real objection is. All right?
Yeah.
Thank you. Of course. Jacob, we'll wrap up with your question.
Yeah, kind of combination question. You mentioned on the offers that we get on through MC or any offer. Actually, I'm asking specifically in MC offers. You have guys have a pre-guidelines pitch. Is what you just said. For any offer that you guys have.
Yes, usually we have
Okay.
scripts. Yeah.
Okay. Secondly, too, I just want to ask you, well, follow up on that presentation. I realized about like 6 weeks ago that from feedback and just overall when I be doing the pitch, if it sounds the same, I would always like get irritated. But I started realizing, like, again, 6 weeks ago, that you really just want to take everything from the situation or what they've been going through in the pitch and just replace it. It should never sound the same ever. And I realized by doing that, and the feedback I got from the coaches, they didn't have a problem with my presentation anymore. I was like, wow, because like it just doesn't. I mean, it doesn't feel right too when you. It sounds the same every single time. Is what I was having a problem with. It just
Exactly.
naturally, honestly, Roman, it irritated me.
It is, I know.
It
It is really, because I've been through that. Like the same way, I was just talking to George about the same thing, right? How you tie in, like, that's how you spice it up. And like one of the reasons why I got really tired at one point of sales was because I sounded the same thing at every pitch, and I'm like, oh my God, here we go again. But that's because I was reading off a script every single time, right? And I wasn't making it personal. And it got so much more fun when I started just spicing it up and making it tailored to them. It was like I actually felt like I was really like helping this person and making like a personal like co-creating a solution together and showing them exactly how we're going to get you from here to here. Even though it's the same programs, it's the same coaching calls, the same training videos, but the way that you present it is different based on the words that they said, based on self-solution selling.
Yeah. And my last question before you go, I know you guys talk about we have to sound like a professional, hold authority on the call and understand everything and educate yourself on the industry. Of course, if you can't help somebody if you have an empty cup, right? Right. I've been watching YouTube videos over the year, ironically, since I joined MC. You a few times mentioned that you invest in real estate, right?
Yep.
Okay. So when you are on the offer of selling real estate, I don't know if that's what you do now or whatever, does that build more conviction of you doing the thing than just educating yourself?
So are you asking because I have actual like real experience with real estate? Does that make a difference if I don't? Absolutely not. No. It just happens that I do have experience with real estate because think about it. Like real estate isn't the only offer I've sold. Like e-commerce, I've never really had like big like success with like e-commerce or like marketing, and I've still sold that. So yeah, it's not really about like, does it help? Yes, of course it helps. At the end of the day, if you have actual experience in the industry, it will come across as more of an expert, but it's not necessary at all.
Okay.
Right? It's just with the way that you ask the questions, you got to position yourself as an expert. And obviously, yes, you will have to study the industry. And not only you'll get pitches, by the way, but whenever you guys are placed on offers, they will bathe you in like a lot of sales calls, a lot of pitches, like closed calls. So you guys have a solid idea of like how to actually pitch these in different ways. Okay.
Thank you, Ron.
Of course. Any other questions, guys, before we wrap up? Lovely. Hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your Thursday. Have a lovely weekend, and we'll see you guys next week. God bless.
Cheers, man.
Ciao.
Thank you.